Are you an artist and you want to take your art and make it into business, or are you a creative person and you want to take your creative work and monetize it? Then this episode is for you. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Shared Diversity. If you are new, Salam, my name is Sina. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have been here before, thank you so much for coming back. Today's episode is from a conversation I had with Telisa. She's a calligrapher from Toronto and she turned her art into business and really monetized her brand. So if you want to learn more about practical tips how to build a business, especially online, this is a really practical episode for anyone who wants to know on point how to make business from her art. I would love to hear what you really liked about this episode, so share in your comments below your favorite part or your favorite quote from this episode, because it helps me to create content that is relevant to you. So let's get into it. What kind of tips could you share with artists that would like to become financially independent with their creations?
So I do have a lot of tips for that. So one is not being afraid to know and how to apply the business and marketing. So 70% of my time, I deal with business and marketing part. So what I mean about that is I consume a lot doing I'm always updating my website and I'm always looking into what's the trend right now. And I do content planning. Mm-hmm. So I only create probably about 30%, 20% of my time. A lot of times I'm marketing myself either through social media, word of mouth, or and I took a lot of class in terms of how to market myself. So the business part, the marketing part, and secondly is knowing your target market. Mm-hmm. You want to know who your ideal client is. The more specific, the better. Mm-hmm. If you're too broad, that means that you're still not confident with what you're doing in your business. So you want to know what your clients, where do they hang out? What do they like? And you need to know what they're thinking ahead of time and be ahead of the game. Mm-hmm. And so I talked about the website earlier. You also want to know about SEO. So really do research and apply it. What I do to get myself to be easily found on Google is I list myself on Google. And I name all my images with keywords that people would have, with keywords that they would search. Like a lot of times they find me through like Toronto calligrapher, and then mine pop up. And that's how you want to rename your images.
Okay, so just to give a little bit of context here, SEO means search engine optimization. Can you just make it, understandable for creatives what it really is, how it benefits your business?
So the thing is that we're in a world of Google and internet, so everybody wants to find you, and you want to be able to be searched easily. Mm-hmm. So with that search engine optimization, once you have website, the first thing that you want to do before you deal with the SEO, you want to build a website. The market on Etsy is very saturated. Mm-hmm. Highly saturated, and the shipping is very expensive. So it's really hard to you to brand yourself an Etsy seller, because once people find you on Etsy, your brand is an Etsy seller. Mm-hmm. But when you have a website, you have your own brand, and people will likely come to you because your authentic style and your branding. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, I'm not saying that Etsy seller doesn't work. It does work. Definitely it does. Sometimes people use that to get traffic to your website, as well as Pinterest.
But that goes back to the audience as well, right? Like you want to know your audience. That means you need a home where your audience can. It's like having people for dinner. Like you're not going to make friends if you don't invite them and you meet them personally and you kind of get to know them. So if they come to your website, you get to know them. You can see the data behind it. They kind of comment. They always know where you are, rather than social media, which always changes.
Exactly.
Keep going, SEO.
So, and think about that. People browse. They only spend about 2 minutes max per website. So your homepage has to be easily attractive, like all repel people that you don't want to hire, right? It doesn't have to attract everybody. You cannot please everybody, but you want to work with people that you want to work with, your target client. So you want to be clear about your business and your authenticity and who you want to serve. Mm-hmm. So that's really important.
How did you build your website? Because you said either you can build it yourself or you can work with someone.
I use Squarespace. It's very easy platform because you just drag and drop. And I literally, the only thing that I do is the wordings that I have, when you read it, it sounds like I'm speaking to you. So it's very important to have that intimacy. That's my style though. Like it depending on what artists prefer. I just like being authentic myself. So I like to refer myself as I, not we, because I'm running everything myself.
And you actually are speaking personally, because I told you earlier, I love the video that you have on your platform, because you actually have like a small video snippet, and so you should all go to Telisa's website. It's so beautiful. You have a small video snippet where it kind of shows you at events and you drawing, crafting your art. And then in the background, it's really this deeper connection to you of understanding why you love doing it, what is the intention behind your brand, which really in your own voice, which makes it really, really relatable and intimate. Mini break, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button to get the newest and freshest content.
Yeah, for sure. I actually had a videographer to capture all of that. He reached out to me saying like, hey, do you want to have a video? And I say like, yeah, I've been thinking about it, but I don't know how to present. And because he's been doing it for so many times, he's like, just be yourself, authentic. And then it happened to be the time when I was doing the Ramadan market in Toronto, Canada. That he was able to capture my interaction with clients, me doing the craft, as well as me teaching. So it was like overall everything that I do all in one video of like a minute. So yeah, it's all about knowing who to work with and how to work with and how you market yourself. And it works for me so far. The key is to be authentic. Like, don't try to be someone else. Just how do you like you're comfortably presenting yourself.
Why do you think that's so important?
It's important because one, it's easier, right? Being authentic. Two, it's like you want to be easily remembered. To me, I think like I follow a lot of lettering artists that talks about the business, or any other artists that talk about business, how to market yourself. And a lot of them all say, just be authentic yourself, show your perkiness, show like everything about you. Like I tell people that I'm also a Zumba instructor, that I care about wellness, I care about ergonomic, blah, blah, blah. And I like to share my behind the scenes. And people love that, because I'm a real human being.
Okay, so I actually interrupted you, and there's already so much value in this podcast. I'm loving it, and I hope people are taking notes. So let's go back to SEO. So you say how do you become financially independent as an artist? You say first of all you need the traffic, you need to know your audience, and then how do you apply your SEO? So you say, for example, you name your images, and that's especially important for artists, I imagine.
So the first thing that I did, and this is completely out of fluke, I actually Google my own company, and then, or like I Google Mississauga calligrapher, right? And then this list of very few people show up on Google Maps. And then if you scroll all the way down, it says, do you find anything that's not listed?
Found this on Google.
Sorry. My Google just showed up, sorry. And then it says like add any list. So I added myself. And then the Google associate called me to confirm about my business. And I confirmed it. And then he walked through everything I need to know on how to manage it. And it's all for free.
That is
it's
so
free.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know why.
So Google associates call you directly?
Yeah. After I list my business, it's like, hey,
and they give you free consulting.
Yeah, just free consulting. Let me know if when you have time for an hour. And then he like walked me through how to use the Google Manager. So I see statistic. I see which pictures that shows the most, and how many people visit my website. What keywords do people use to find me? And so that's, and then because of that, and I also like have links on my website and whatnot. And it works because of my service is location based. So I'm serving GTA and Toronto, and that's what people usually search, because I don't think I would be working anywhere outside of that area because of the nature of my service. So it works a lot. So if any artist out there wants to be working locally, that's the first thing you want to do. List yourself on Google Maps. And then obviously once you have that website, you want to add that description where there is a description of how you want to be found. The same thing, like use the keywords that people would want to find you. Like for me, it's Mississauga, Toronto calligrapher. That's how mine pop up. And again, renaming all images. I know it seems like a lot the first time, but once you do that as a habit, it becomes really easy. So for me, I name all my images Toronto _ calligrapher _ the item that the service that I use, like mirror calligraphy, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And I'm very active on Instagram, even though 90% of my clients find me through Google. Instagram helps too with the traffic. If you notice the LinkedIn in bio, I don't use 3 links. So on Squarespace, for my website, there is an unlink page where you can create a page to add links. So if you go on my Instagram, if you click on my links, it'll take you to actually a page of my website that you cannot see. So when you use your unlinked through website, as opposed to 3 link, when people click on the link on Instagram, it drives traffic to your website, and you want to have that
direct traffic. So the minute I click on the link, I'm on your website. Okay.
Basically, yeah. Nice. And another ways is you can also do blogging. I haven't done that, but it's been in the back of my mind that I wanted to do. Blogging is also another way to drive traffic. And the thing is that when blogging is a good idea too, because you're basically providing knowledge, right, to the public. And when people see like, oh, this person knows about this because this person writes a blog about it, they'll likely hire you for that reason. Because she's an expertise, so I'm just gonna hire her because I can't do it myself. So that's a good way to get business as well. There's so many different ways, but those are the one of the ways that I've been constantly doing.
Why do you think has it been important that you are the face of your brand?
I think it's important to people to see who the artist behind it, especially because I get hired by companies to do on-site. Where I do calligraphy personalization for their clients. Say they bought something and then they want me to personalize it. It's very important for big companies to see who they're hiring, because that person is going to be on the table in front of them, right? They want to see like friendly faces. And that's why it's really important for me to show myself, my personality. And it's also very important in general to show yourself, because it kind of gains trust, right? Like, I know who this person is. I know her personality. It's like, I know you, but I've never met you. But I trust her because she's showing all of this stuff. She's showing all her knowledge. She's showing all the behind the scenes. And when you have trust, you get sales.
That is very true. But I want listeners to understand, like, you are not there on Instagram putting your life out, talking about your family and what you have for breakfast. Like, you do it in a very professional manner. And I find that very important, because I know a lot of girls and sisters are out there trying to build a brand, and they think they have to be the face of the brand, which, like you say, it builds trust. I think there are many ways to do it without showing it. Well, you can wear a club. I think the most important thing is your voice. Like, if you, for example, if I would have the same stories, the same kind of, calligraphy pictures on your site, and you would still be yourself and talk the way you talk, I would still connect to you. But then also, if you want to do the in between, like, you want to show your face, but you don't want to show too much of your life. You don't want to put yourself too much out there. This is kind of the balance that you are creating. Do you have some tips for sisters that are just fearful or have self-doubt and putting themselves out there?
I actually do know an interior designer who never show her face, but she always use voice. And and she shows all her tips. I think it's really important to use Instagram stories to represent your authenticity. You don't have to show your face. You can create, like, you can even just show like hands, or I don't know, or showing whatever it is that you want to create as an artist. So what she does is, her name is Nimi Style. She shows a lot of tips on how to do DIY, and they are very, very resourceful. And that's not a way, like, you, even if you don't want to show your face, it's fine. But if you're showing your knowledge, that's another way of basically showing part of your branding, because now you become an expertise, right? So that's, I think it's really important to show that behind the scene. And but you don't want to show too much, where I find that, like, when someone has Instagram, so it's like that looks like dots, and I just kind of skip it. So you want to maintain, you don't want to show too much to the point that it's like it's not relevant anymore, or you just kind of rambling on talking about a lot of stuff. It, like, I usually skip those. And it's really important if you don't want to show, but you can also add captions, right? You can type it up. I always add caption, because a lot of times I don't have my speaker on, and some moms, like, we're really busy, so we just want to read it. We don't want to have to turn on, or like you're in the area where, like, you don't want people to hear what you're listening to, right? So caption is also very important. So you don't really have to show your face. There's many other ways, but as long as you show up, showing your brand, showing what you're doing, I think that's good enough. Showing what you're doing that's relevant to your business, not like too much. I don't show much of my personal stuff, maybe just a little bit here and there, but not too much, because I don't want to get that dotted sharing too much, right? Yeah.
But I love that, because a lot of people say and think a personal brand is about putting your all personal life out there.
No, yeah.
How would you define actually a personal brand?
For me, my personal brand would be, well, the thing is that for me, I'm more about appreciation. I love helping people. So my personal brand is always about helping others, helping others to feel appreciated. So my followers on Instagram are two types. So either fellow calligraphers or people who like pretty things. So the people who are fellow calligraphers, I share a lot of my knowledge, because I want to help them. I want to help them grow. How do I do this part of the business? Blah, blah, blah. And then the people who just love pretty things, they're usually the one who ended up hiring me. What was I going to say? I like to share tips just to see that, like, the quality work of that I do it's a high ticket price, because of all these things that I have to do to create one project. So when I do behind the scene, it served both ways. It served my fellow calligraphers and also the people who like pretty things. So they appreciate high art form.
Yeah.
And my personal brand, it's through that. It's how I share my message, how I like to use a bit of a comedy, because I like to be funny. I'm a big fan of romantic comedy, so when I show something, it usually has that romantic feels, like the Victorian look and whatnot. But I also like to add a little bit of humor. That's what my personal brand is. But in a way, I'm actually, like, it's in the phase where people would likely ended up booking me, because I'm showing all of that.
I really hope you loved this episode. If you want to hear the full conversation I had with Telisa, click here or in the link in the description. And if you think someone needs to hear this message, please share it with her, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click on the notification button to never miss a new and fresh episode. And also check out our podcast to stay educated on the go. And I'll see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.